Okay, well, I'm here at Steel Pro. There's a lot of history right here underground and in this spot. I won't go into it on camera, but just a lot of history. We had a train practically stalled over there on the tracks. So I'm going to mount this on my head and explore back in the truck terminal here and see if I can get through without somebody chasing me away. It's only happened once when I've explored, but it's kind of disturbing. The guy claimed to own Steel Pro and proceeded to follow me for miles to stalk me. So that kind of sucked. It was on Thanksgiving. So it was just dead. There was just nothing happening down here. And it seems pretty quiet right now. We're at dusk on a Friday night. And of course, you know, it's positioned right here on the tracks, so they can haul their steel around the country. If I'm lucky, I'll get to see some good rusty stuff, but the premises are in better shape than they have been in the past. You can see some big rolls of steel in there. A couple of precious vehicles here hiding under cloak. From the shape of them, they may be antiques of some kind. But yeah, it's nice and quiet and peaceful back here. One of these times, I would like to cross over the tracks into Wayne. Well, we're in Wayne now, but to that other part of Wayne on the other side of the tracks. Occasionally we'll see interesting graffiti on the sides of these trains. Usually just tags of various kinds. But sometimes there'll be artistic things. Mostly tags over here. Used to be a big pile of incredibly rusty stuff over here, which is gone now. Here we've got some art. I mean, it's tag art. Probably interesting perspective from up there, and I don't know, I may get off the bike and get some kind of perspective. Seems like these cars have been sitting here forever. Hey man, nice shot, is what the graffiti says. There's the depot over there. You can't see it from here, but there's a crow's nest at the top, and then there's a sign about midway down, an old, extremely rusted out sign that says, safety sign that says, today is the first day of the rest of your life, which is a phrase that was coined by the cult leader Dietrich, who had a drug rehabilitation cult in the 70s that apparently enjoyed some success, lots of success, but it turned into a very strange thing. So I don't know what RISA stands for.
This is what it is.
But yeah, the train is stalled. There's a nice perspective from here of the overpass at Michigan Avenue. Hey, it's moving. But yeah, I've gotten some great photographic shots back here. Railroad tracks obviously give you a nice perspective effect, so it's kind of a cheat to photographers in getting interesting shots. So I don't know, let's park here. See what kind of perspective we can get. Yeah, the train is pretty much blocking the whole perspective, but if we get up a little higher, we'll get some a view. The Diamond Junction, as it is known. Somebody climb back down here. So I seem to be riding at about the same speed. So we're back parallel to Michigan Avenue, eastbound. See the old air siren over there. Some people have been mistakenly calling them flock cameras or surveillance devices, but they're warning systems, alarms, you know, like air raid siren stuff. The facade of this building still vaguely resembles what it looked like back in the early 1900s, but it has been modernized. So yeah, we're around front now of Wayne Industries facade on eastbound Michigan Avenue. And of course the old Kroger used to be there. It did, you know, towards its end, it was getting pretty dilapidated, so it was probably time for it to end. But I still have nostalgic feelings about it. And here are some parts of old Wayne that were not destroyed for urban renewal. There's on Williams Street. The road gets pretty bad down here. There used to be an interesting monster truck over here behind the fence. That was a couple years ago. I don't know if it's still there, but this would have been the corner where Kroger was. And we're on brush. Still nice and quiet. Some cheap apartments. There used to be a really nice concrete art sculpture thing on a, I think it was this lawn. I could be wrong, but I seem to recall it was this one. And it's no longer there. But I could be, maybe it's the other side of Christine here. Want to take the shortcut? The Christine shortcut? Oh, dang it. Forgot my headlight. This is what I call the Christine shortcut. There's old Unistrut. They repainted that back facade. It used to be antiquated signage. think that sculpture may have been here. Looks like they've done a whole, like a handicapped ramp that wiped most of it out. Here's a big field that used to be, I think, homes and houses. I'm pretty sure there was a sawmill or some kind of grain facility over there in antiquity that burned down right there on the tracks. And I have explored back there with the GoPro in the past. And maybe in my retirement, I'll go through all that old footage and edit it together better than what I was able to do when I shot it initially, 4 or 5 years ago. Because, yeah, the junction there over the overpass from Wayne Road is interesting. I don't really want to go that way right now. The darkness is falling, and I seem to have forgotten to bring my headlight, which is to say, I have a light that I wear on my head, but the light that would ordinarily go there is sitting at home in my kitchen. The Doolittle photo studio used to be here. Susie Doolittle. Was torn down for urban renewal. And this GoPro is newer than the old one, but it still has trouble with sort of low light situations like this. So the video stabilization is probably jumpy. Just too bad, because the newer camera is supposed to have better stabilization, and it clearly doesn't. Now, if I timed this right, I would have gone across right here. But instead, I'm going to go across in this direction and then cross over, because I'm interested in seeing where, you know, the grounds of the old parking garage that they tore down. Again, I've got footage of the parking garage coming down, lots of it, which I've been too busy, or should I say lazy, to edit together, but some of it is really good. So of course the parking garage was over here. Now it's a big hole in the ground. And library's over there. Let's see. Yeah. Library of First Congregational Church, I think is what it's called in the background there. A mattress. With a psychiatric facility that, to me at least, has an ominous name. It's called Pure something. Pure something. Pure Psychiatry of Michigan. The purity aspect, for some reason, creeps me out. I think it hails back to this fascist idea of the master race and pure genetics and that kind of thing. I'm going to try to cross over to the other side where there is a bike lane. Another historic intersection, 2nd and Michigan. The corner where Wayne Hobby used to be, the Funny Farm, famous bar, dive bar. Some interesting businesses occupied where the Planet Fitness was. The old, was it a Chatham or a Farmer Jack grocery store, and then the end space for the longest time was a Salvation Army resale, where I found a number of good, very interesting books and records. My most vivid memories, it seems, are of the eureka moments in resale shops of finding something really cool in the used record bin or on the bookshelf. And my memory has a few of those attached to the Salvation Army that used to be on the end. So we're coming up to Sims. Again, lots of history here. The old Wayne Library. Wayne Dispatch used to be there. My dad ran presses there for a while, a year or so, before getting a better paying job at the incinerator. A job that he gave up. He told me how much an hour he was making, and it was incredibly little. It was like $2.13 an hour, which I don't know, in the 60s may have been a lot of money, or maybe not, but he said he could make 75 bucks an hour tattooing. So he managed to convince Mom that he was gonna make a not only a lateral move, career move, but a upwardly mobile career move, and begin to tattoo. And that's where the family legacy in tattooing began. Unless you want to take it back to, I don't know, when he was in Norwayne in the 50s, hand-picking kids' names in their arms and getting in trouble with all their parents. Maybe the Johnson tattooing legacy began back then. But the electric era of Johnson family tattooing began when he was working at the incinerator and figured out he could make more money tattooing after doing a gig at the fairgrounds in Belleville. I think it was county fair, and making good money. So we're not quite in the home stretch, but I'm headed towards the high school. And then I'll take a hike down Grand Traverse which I would call the home stretch. So in front of the old high school here, well, let's call it the new high school. The old high school was back on Michigan Avenue in the vicinity of where I was videotaping a little bit earlier in this shoot. Most of these houses are holding up. It's kind of incredible. Some of them are in poor shape, but they're still up. There are exceptions, obviously. This place burned down. And they took it, they leveled it, you know, they got the debris out of there pretty quick. This was an interesting old tree that they took down recently. This tree is very angular, and I want to catch it in better light sometime and photograph it, because it's all 90-degree angles. Very, very strange. Nature doesn't do that very often. Now, I'm not going to tape all the way to my street. Might just go as far as Cayley Park, which has been pretty busy lately. The basketball court over there seems to be always active. And then often around dusk or after dark, there have been a lot of people congregating in the playground area, which I hope is something good. I hope that means there's sort of a community situation happening and that they're not up to some kind of mischief. But the park's pretty quiet right now, with the exception of the basketball court. There seem to be a lot of Middle Easterners moving into the neighborhood. On my street in particular, there's like 3 separate houses that have seemed to become occupied by elderly Middle Easterners. And they seem to not to have a whole lot to do, I'm not sure, but they're always sort of strolling around the neighborhood and relaxing on Lincoln Johnson Field over here, which is fine. I don't have anything against any specific ethnicity. But yeah, the neighborhood seemed to be experiencing white flight, where white people were moving out and African Americans were moving in. And that, I think that trend still continues, but what I had to predict it is that the Middle Eastern population would start moving in. So the demographics of Norwayne are changing. There's Ben's interesting property that I call Norwayne Disneyland. Of course, the old creek started around Palmer Road, cut across the field, and angled right through about here. Sort of to the corner of what is now Calumet. And newer houses, I'm assuming that they were built after the creek was sunk. But McPhee Drain goes along this back fence line all the way down. It used to be the creek. They sunk it and turned it into the drain along my back fence line to underneath Glenwood, through the Glenwood Cemetery, all the way back to the Rouge River.